Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Xenogears. I'm Dan.
And I'm Austin.
We are here to play games.
Badly.
All right. So last time, we invaded Solaris with our daring plan to punch through the shield with Sybzen, and we got through a good bit of this area. Oh, look, a battle.
I'm so surprised. You took 3 steps.
Yeah, there's a lot of random encounters in here. But yeah, we went through a couple of areas, including kind of your first, like the third class block, and we found out that there are 3 different classes in Solaris, which we sort of knew before, but we discovered kind of the third class, or the labor class. First class being the Gazelle. They're kind of the wealthy and then the elite. And then there's the second class, which is sort of a middle class. And so we ended up in the third class and eventually ended up over at Ellie's house in the first class district. But before that, there was the dedication ceremony, where we saw Emperor Cain discussing, all that good stuff we've been hearing about with the Gazelle Ministry up till now. The discussion of Mother God and returning to God's paradise, and Mahanan, the resting place of God.
Oh yeah, I've got lots of no's on that.
Oh yeah. There's a lot to unpack there, especially since we've seen the terms a lot more than the party has. But seeing them begin to discuss and deal with it is pretty interesting.
Indeed.
As we go here, we're going to proceed to Corellian's laboratory. But, after the dedication ceremony, there was a whole thing at Ellie's home and then through the Soylent system. So, good stuff, right? Up?
Yeah, good. Good is not the word I would use, but yes.
Definitely interesting.
Horrifying might be the word I would use.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, so we're starting to see some of the pop culture references within this. Soylent Green is the most obvious one, but I do want to go through a couple more of them as we start going through Corellian's laboratory here. Speaking of Corellian, we did end up seeing a flashback. Oh, and we got some stairs here, but I don't believe, So these are blocked off, so we're going to have to go mess around a little bit.
You want to go north?
Yeah.
This is the starting area.
Yep. But anyway, there was a flashback with Corellian, and we saw him discussing things with Lacan. He had a notably different color, blue hair.
Yeah, like a rich cerulean blue versus this like ashy brown blonde he's got going on now.
Right. Yeah, and he was obviously a lot younger due to the mention of Sophia. This was probably about 500 years ago. Assuming it happened, which we have no reason to assume otherwise, really.
Right. Well, and we've already got in-world evidence of people being able to stay like a set young age and still persist for several hundred years.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that was definitely interesting. There was a discussion of kind of Corellian developing all of this technology and becoming very learned in the art of war and things like that. We did also learn right after that that the gang was captured like 5 seconds after we got here or something. Like they were pretty much immediately captured. And we learned that from the hollows we saw of them.
Yeah, I wonder why that is.
Yeah, it certainly raises some questions.
Don't take that first path.
Yeah. What exactly, was Bart running around screaming? Did something else weird, shady go on?
Well, I don't know. It is Bart. Him running around screaming is a very viable option.
Yeah, no one knows we're the Phantom Thieves. Like, thanks, Bart.
Yeah. For real?
For real? Yeah. And then, of course, we had to start running because Faye was losing his mind. Also, this is an interesting room. Check it out.
That's a lot of memory cubes.
All the memory cubes. Let's see.
Oh, did Krellian invent memory cubes too?
Spinny memory cubes.
What's this? Memory cube data? Is it the thing we usually use to save? Oh,
We're just fourth wall. Bye-bye.
right. The information of all the people who have access to the memory cube from all over the world is being sent here now. This facility is the Integration Control Center. What's it for? Collecting data, obviously.
Yup. Survival tent in here.
I wonder if this is where all that the gear competition data is going to.
Yeah. There is an actual functional memory cube in here, which is cool.
Right. You know, it would be interesting if they could have found a way. I know this is a limitation of the era of which the game was released. Excuse me. But similar to how near Automata handles it, you want to keep going north, then around the corner.
Yeah, northeast, yeah.
Where you do see evidence of other people's saves in your game. Right? Because then it's all over the world, which we're talking about like Ignis and Aquavi and all of that. But also, how cool would it be if it was like the literal world as well?
Indeed. That would
like even
be...
if it was just like, hey, this memory cube has, somebody's user name on it or whatever. Kind of like what they did with Kingdom Hearts and the Keyblades at near the end of the third game, where like you're fighting all those different.
Oh yeah.
Right, and each Keyblade had like a master's name associated with it, and it was like a player.
Yes, yeah, similar things. A lot of modern multiplayer games. Dark Souls with the messages on the ground. Salt and Sanctuary does it. A lot of games have done it. Yeah, so that would be cool.
That'd been a cool little overlap.
Check this out.
What the heck? What is this thing? A gear? No, look, the surface of the armor isn't segmented. It's the same as Bart's gear and Vari and the gear we saw in Shavat. It's an Omni gear. Okay, segmented. As in it's a seamless frame?
Right. Yeah, so regular gears have segmented armor. You can tell a gear is an Omni gear because it doesn't have those. It's like it's a seamless. I take it as it almost has maybe a metallic organic type appearance to it.
I mean, it would have to be seamless. Like,
right.
Otherwise, how would it function?
Yeah, exactly. How would it move? Yeah, it's not a statue, clearly.
Right.
But we saw, I think, a little bit of it with Anvari versus Brigandier, where it's got a more sleek, smooth appearance to it.
Right.
So,
why does Krellian have an Omni gear?
It's a good question. It's an Omni gear.
And have we seen this one before? I don't think so, right?
No, we have not.
Okay. But this thing is huge. Yeah, that was the other thing. It seems like it's bigger than...
Yeah, this gear is gigantic, yes.
Yes, it's got to be around 3 times as powerful as our gears. So, this is Solaris' Omni gear.
Yep.
Is this one that Krellian made himself?
It's a good question. There's a lot of the appearance of this Omni gear. I really like this one. You get a little bit of a different angle view on it here. We can see it's got what looks like maybe a tail or tendril.
It kind of looks like a upside down wasp at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is quite interesting. I quite like this gear a lot, and yeah, we haven't seen the last of it here. Obviously, it's kind of a Chekhov's gun situation. Like, okay, we're gonna be seeing this one.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is Solaris's Omni gear.
That's right. Yeah. So It could be Krellians, but it's definitely Solaris's Omnigear. That's how Citan knows of it.
Right. Well, and the Omnigear were created 500 years ago. And I think it was either in direct response to the Diabolos catastrophe, or that's what they used to defeat whatever was causing to resolve the catastrophe.
They
right?
were,
At least,
yeah, they were used during the Diabolos invasion catastrophe. Yeah,
well, there are people in that. That's really unfortunate.
there are. Oh, long time. Okay.
What?
I don't actually remember this person. I think we may not have talked to them in Kislev, but this is apparently a person that you can talk to when you're in Nortune.
What? I know he dealt with the dog. I didn't know that he had an owner.
Yeah, I guess so. It's me, the one who owned that dog in Kislev. I may look like this, but the dog's doing fine.
Well, good to know.
Yeah, really good to know. Please don't think about letting me out. Even though I'm still conscious, eventually I'll
turn into a monster.
You'll what? You'll what? Yeah, so...
But all the chests in there.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
the elevator is locked.
Yep. Yeah, controlled by the panel. Yeah, so if we want the chests, we gotta let everybody out. So, let's go ahead and start doing that.
Hey, help me. My body.
So all of these are going to be battles.
Yeah, I assumed as much. Yeah, that tracks. But these are all mid-transformation.
Yeah, they're being turned into wells or other monstrosities.
Right.
Grotesqueries. Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to mention here while we're kind of fighting a couple of these monsters. There was an observation when we were at Ellie's home. That she did not look like her mother or father. And she was talking about how she thinks maybe her nanny was her real mother.
Right.
So this was referenced previously when, I believe it was when Dominia had control of Haishao underwater.
Yeah.
He was talking about a rumor that Ellie was at least partially not a first-class pure-blood Solarian, but a part land dweller.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So she's like, oh, so the rumors are true. So there are rumors around why she does not. She doesn't look like Medina and Eric specifically.
Right. What I find interesting though is that the mom.
Good day.
The mom clearly views Ellie as her own child.
Yes.
Now, whether that's because she biologically gave birth to Ellie, or I don't know. I think if it had been an illicit child, her feelings toward Ellie would be different.
Right.
So I think that if the nanny was involved in any way, maybe she operated as like a surrogate. And maybe Medina can't bear children, right? So
sure,
the nanny acted as a surrogate. They're like, hey, we want to have a child, but as compensation, we'll keep you fed, taken care of, room and board.
Yeah, all of that.
Right. So, for someone in a position that her theoretical nanny mom would have been in at the time, that would have been a very lucrative deal, to say the least.
Right. Yeah, very beneficial.
So, and then I think I posited to you yesterday, I didn't put it in my notes, but if Ellie is being influenced by this transmigrating mother spirit in some way, does that also affect her physical appearance? Who knows?
It's a good question, though, especially considering we have seen what appear to be other incarnations. You opened it. I told you not to open it. My mind. Now we gotta fight him. Sad. But yeah, we've seen. Yeah, we've seen Sophia, who looks remarkably like Ellie, which is interesting.
Oh, it's the gross thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know the gross thing was also a well. That.
unfortunate, isn't it?
It is. It's really interesting because it means that a lot of the creatures we encountered in the sewers, even beyond Red Rum, where because we countered a lot of these guys too.
Yep.
We're also wells. That's what do they do? They just like drop them off into the ocean, and if they survive, they end up in these different places.
My dog, please take care of him.
No.
Don't worry, buddy. We'll check in.
We'll put him on the Yggdrasil 3.
There you go.
And Bart will take care of him.
Yeah.
Bart strikes me as a dog guy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, that's just kind of a defensive accessory.
But Sigurd's a cat person.
Yes, I agree.
Or maybe it's the opposite, right? Because typically it's like the personalities don't tend to match all the time.
Yeah, maybe. Possibly.
More treasures.
More treasures. Another entrance to elevators that we cannot get into because it is currently locked. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So the references to Ellie are...
baby.
Or rather, her situation is pretty interesting, I think. And, yeah, I wanted to make sure to call back to that, Dominia conversation because it's pretty important. Also, I did find it interesting that Seitan went ahead and explained while we were dealing with the Soylent system that Dominia is from a nearly extinct group of people who had unusual abilities while we were kind of figuring out what to do about the whole Soylent system situation.
Yeah, I was going to actually bring that up if you didn't, because that...
Yeah.
It's such a passing set of statements. Because we've had no indication of this at all up until right then. That I'm aware of.
Yeah, that you're aware of. That's right. There has actually been a reference to that, but we haven't fully connected the dots yet. Those will get connected, though. We've heard about Dominia's situation a couple of times, so.
I find it interesting because she's the last of her kind, essentially.
Yeah,
and like what special ability do they have that would cause Solaris to grab them and experiment on them?
Yeah. What are her? And Dominia, we've seen a little bit of where she has these weird, like she's an element, but she has sort of interesting sets of abilities, if you will. So yeah, there's definitely more to come about her. She is a pretty important character. Her and the elements in general.
Can you quit like exploding on Ellie?
Yeah, they keep all kind of doing that. It's let's do one of these. But yeah, Ellie's father, Eric, used to oversee the Soylent system, creates food and medicine, and maintains the limiter seal, and Seitan kind of knew all of this, which is interesting.
Yeah. I'm still thinking about Seitan's approach to it. And I don't know, like, yeah, it could be a very visceral lesson to eat the food and then and encounter the system, but you know what also would have been effective? Don't eat that.
Yeah.
Why? Follow me into the next couple of rooms and you'll see. Like,
I kind of feel like eating you.
Like eating you up. Nom 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 nom
nom nom nom nom nom nom.
A high pitched screech. Ugh.
Yeah, there's definitely at least one meme about Seitan doing that, where I think it's like the scumbag person with like the hat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, go ahead and eat that food or something. I don't remember the text of it, but I've seen it before. Like, yeah.
Right.
It's effective. But is it necessarily the most the best way to handle it? I don't know, but they certainly aren't going to forget it anytime soon, and maybe that's the point, right?
Right.
It's definitely dubious, though. I think it's, yeah. I understand why
it's a little manipulative and underhanded.
Yes, I agree. Wait a minute.
But in the Soylent system too, there's a line that Ellie says where she says, "Oh, this is where they make the medicine that we normally take too, huh?"
Mm-hmm.
So Soylent, this like it's not just the wells aren't just food;
Right.
they're being used in their drugs as well.
Yes.
And now, initially, when Sagan's explaining it, he's talking about how Soylent manufactures these resources that actually predominantly get exported to the land dwellers.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since those are what kind of maintain the limiter and a few other things.
Right.
But it's also distributed to the people of Solaris, at least in some degree.
Yes.
And so I have to wonder, like, is Soylent experimentation also part of like the drive development, the drug drive?
Could be. Yeah. It's definitely related to kind of their drug supply, their medicine. Yeah.
Right.
I could see it.
Which, I mean, again, has all kinds of horrific implications.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it kind of begs the question, how does the Soylent system revive the Gazelle? Because, you know, back in the dedication ceremony, there's a line where they display Bart and the crew are all captured. And let me find the exact wording here.
Extra AR +6.
Just to make sure I'm reading it correctly.
Yeah, one thing I think is important to consider is the fact that they could be lying to the populace about what they're going to do with the party.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
it's an interesting way to explain that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It definitely is.
I have it in all caps. Where did it go? Oh, there we go. To revive our progenitors, the Gazelle of old, the day after tomorrow, these land dwellers will be disposed of in the Soylent system.
Right.
So, you know, people who don't know what the Soylent system is, then they're not going to understand. But, like,
Yeah.
it does something.
Do you remember?
It does something more than just create a food source, right? Like,
yeah.
so.
Do you remember what Ellie said about the Soylent system? Because she wasn't aware either. It was kind of a central area from which I don't remember the way she described it.
Yeah, she basically just said it's like a core aspect of Solaris's supplies.
Yeah, it's like an important supply center type thing. Yeah.
Right.
So the party being disposed of in the Soylent system is interesting given the populace doesn't know about it. But it could be, you know, well, they'll be taken here. You know, maybe there's some sort of, maybe it's widely known as like, the prisoners will go here or something, but it's not a prison necessarily. So it's sort of interesting.
Well, in Krellian's lab, or whatever this is.
This is Krellian's lab.
Yeah, I just don't know if we've been told directly that that's what this is.
Right.
But yeah, Krellian's lab is directly connected to the Soylent system.
Yes.
And in some ways could arguably be a part of the Soylent system, because Citan says it's a complex of experimentation and obviously food and medicine and all these other things too. Mm-hmm. So like this is where the wells are produced as well. So
yeah, the Aquavie Wells Reapers are produced in the Soylent system and Krellian's lab.
Right, which kind of begs the question, is there like an Ignis Wells production line?
No, I think my take on it is that the wells are a specific kind of weird monstrosity, and when they are created, they're dropped in the Aquavie region, but I don't know that every monster we encounter is like an offshoot of humanity, but, you know, because there might be like native animals or other weird like experimentation or human presence type things happening.
Well, sure, like the hobs that you run into in like the Lahan Forest.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not trying to think that everything's human tied in. But...
Right. But yeah, I think the Wells Reapers are specifically known in the Aquavie region. I think that's all that actually is talking about there.
Yeah.
All right, we're making some good time going through here.
You sure are. Wow.
Oh boy, one of these guys again. So I do also want to mention before we get too much further here, the name Solaris is an interesting one. So, you know, it's sort of an easy type of, like, if you think about it as like sunlight, right? It's related to the sun or something like that, people of the sun. But Solaris is actually a name that comes from the 1961 novel of the same name. It was adapted into a play in 1968 and into a film twice in 72 and 2002. So it's a sci-fi. Yeah, it's a sci-fi novel. It's about a research station on a distant planet named Solaris. And Solaris is... Oh, let's go ahead and activate these. These elevators take us down to the previously deactivated ones, so we can go right back up. But we'll
shortcuts.
Go ahead and activate the shortcuts in case we need them. Anyway, Solaris in the novel is kind of inhabited by an odd alien life form that is essentially like an ocean of gelatinous material. If you watch Star Trek, think of the Great Link from Deep Space Nine. It's sort of like that.
Okay.
And the station it's a research station. It floats in orbit, but it's kind of low orbit, sort of like Solaris in this game. And it's there to basically study the life form and try to draw conclusions and communicate with it and things like that. And it ends up dealing with kind of the limitations of human rationality when dealing with like alien entities and, you know, things like that. Like, how much can we really understand even with scientific observation? There's also sort of some like psychological components to the story. It's meant to be a very contemplative type of piece where, you know, the inhabitants of this research station are dealing with emotional crises as they're attempting to study this planet. So it's a pretty interesting origin for Solaris, you know, and Etranonk, the floating capital of Solaris, which, you know, it's sort of like in Shivat, FL Aura is, you can refer to the floating saucer as FL Aura, as I believe the Ministry did at least once, but it also is sort of the capital of the whole thing being Shivat.
Right. Hello, what is this?
We got some weird stuff in here.
That's a big brain.
Yeah, and we got, it's like a wolf type guy over
is
here.
He like enlarging creatures?
That's what it looks like, yeah. I don't know what that is. That looks like a torso.
It's some...
Got a battle.
That's like... I don't know. This might be stretching it.
Mm-hmm.
But it... yeah, right. I mean, when does that stop me? It makes me wonder if he's trying to create gear-sized humans.
Kind of like Ava's.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Hmm.
But the Avas, like, were still a mixture of machine and biology.
That's certainly true.
But maybe, I mean, maybe the Project M, where they were combining...
Big old yield there. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Because part of Project M was combining a human mind with a machine mind.
That might be the weirdest of all of these things. Look at that.
Yeah.
Insect type thing.
It's stretched out.
Yeah. Just weird experiment. But anyway, yeah, Project M.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of it, at least, was combining a human mind with a machine mind.
Yep.
Which is what we got with Oxen, was like a completion of that.
Indeed.
So theoretically, the next step would be to fully integrate a human's biology into the machine, akin to an Ava.
Yeah.
What is happening here?
Weird lasers are seeming to like analyze or do things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something real quick. See how this goes. Stop shooting her. Okay. We're gonna use Big Bang, which Faye learned at level 72. Because it's a cool ability.
What? Space.
If you're starting to hear, like, One Winged Angel or, like, the Up of Fate boss battle music, like, yeah. In your head there.
It still only did like 200 damage.
Right. So you can ether doubler Faye and like power up his. I never really bother with that because he's just such a good physical fighter. So it's kind of unfortunate that he doesn't have good ether capability. Just if you like don't mess with him out of the box because he's got cool spells like that, like Big Bang and Radiance, but. You know, say la vie.
They certainly look cool.
Yeah, they do. But yeah, it's possible that that's part of Krellian's research is trying to create larger life forms, you know. It would make sense given that part of what the limiter did is make the choo-choo life forms smaller.
Right.
Alright, we're gonna go this way first.
So maybe he's trying to replicate what the choo-choos could do naturally?
Mm-hmm. Possibly. Let's do... So the other kind of pop culture thing I want to cover, which I think is very interesting, and it kind of goes hand in hand with Solaris, is actually Krellian. So I think I've mentioned before that Krellian is actually a localization difference. I don't know that maybe it's an error, but he's probably better translated as Karellan. Karellan is a major character from the 1953 Arthur C. Clarke sci-fi novel Childhood's End. Karellan in that story is the overlord. He's Overlord Karellan. He's the supervisor of Earth. Which is interesting because kind of the setting of that. And before I get into that, Childhood's End was most notably it was basically adapted most notably in 1997 on the BBC. They did a radio dramatization of it, and there was a mini series on the Sci-Fi Channel in 2015. Level up for Titan. So. You know, there's the novel, and then there is also kind of the mini-series that you can check out if you're interested in it. But, oh yeah, here we go, this room. We're going to let them all out here in a second. That one's weird looking. I think that guy's seen better days.
He been squished.
Yeah, he got squished. Let's go ahead and let these people out. Uh-oh.
That's a lot of fights.
Hey, could you open the door?
All right.
What? It's easy. Just press on that panel over there.
Sure, buddy. Seems above board to me.
Thanks. In return, I'll eat you.
All right, this is about to look very familiar.
Oh, you know what? I have.
Not
It's happened a few times now. But
battle?
I'm just now realizing that the transition between world and battle isn't the shattering anymore. It's wibbly wobbly, wavy.
right. Yeah, so right now, a lot of battles, the transition screen is sort of what you would normally see when you're entering a boss fight. I don't know that has any particular significance, but it is very interesting that the shattering motif is not there currently.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. But anyway, Karellan, Childhood's End.
Right.
So the story, essentially, and I'm going to do a little bit of an overview. I've attempted to avoid spoilers because it's pretty easy to spoil Childhood's End, apparently. So it's essentially Clark wrote a short story called Guardian Angel, level 75 for Faye. Guardian Angel, and then eventually that became Childhood's End.
Help! I can't control. Don't kill me.
Too late. So when humanity is about to go into space, the planet is surrounded, and all of the major cities basically have these alien ships come down. Think Independence Day ships come down. Except instead of like blowing everything up, they are like, all right, we're going to take control of international affairs on this planet. Kill me. And basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to prevent humanity from going extinct. So they have shown up as benevolent overlords. And what Corellin is he's kind of he's the supervisor, so he reports into the overlords. And there's a lot of interaction between him and another character where they're kind of discussing, various affairs and things. But society largely continues to function normally, but thematically, what's going on is essentially about the evolution of what is generally regarded as human. And as the story goes on, people begin to manifest extraordinary powers like telekinesis and clairvoyance and things like that. And that combined with the fact that you never see the overlords. I believe Corellin might be one of the few that actually has physically seen them. So nobody really knows what they look like, because Corellin isn't telling anyone.
Right.
And so part of, going through it is you find out what they do look like, and then you sort of start to figure out, oh, this one's important. Taking good care of my brother in the sewers. So... Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh.
The Bloody Brothers. So yeah, we had Bloody, we had Red Rum, and now we're fighting two of them. So I'm going to try to take these guys out pretty quickly. They will both open with murder, so we're probably going to have to do some rezzing here.
Oh man, that's rough.
Yup. There it is.
So, I didn't quite catch all the dialogues. It kind of went by a little fast.
Yeah, I had no control over it, unfortunately.
That's fine. I'll capture the rest of it later. But
yeah.
He said, you took care of my brothers in the sewers?
He said, in the sewers, you took care of my brother.
Which, I guess, the only assumption I can make here is Red Rum.
Correct. He's referring to Red Rum.
Okay. God, that poor kid. Did he even know he had uncles?
Yeah.
Or he had an uncle, at least?
No idea.
Oh, man.
One would think he probably doesn't know.
Right. Again, I don't know why certain people who went to the Ethos ended up here, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they were transported up for use in the solar system or things like that.
All the wells are tragic.
They are.
But the bloody variant, I feel like, is one of the most tragic.
Yeah, it is exceptionally unfortunate.
Especially because they have so much intelligence to them.
Yeah, they are quite. They're among the most coherent. Which just makes it all the more tragic that, like, they can't resist. They're going to come at you. They're going to try to kill you, drink your blood to get relief, basically.
Right. The other ones, they seem to be much more primal, instinctual, but
yeah,
there's at least some cognizance there with the bloody version.
Yeah, the bloody type of Well Reaper. Yeah. I am spamming Koke here with Faye because it does so much more damage, and these guys are a little rough.
Yeah.
Fortunately, though, although they both open with murder, they don't do it again. So as long as nobody in your party is dead at the beginning of the fight, you're fine. Just res them and then move on, basically. But yeah, I wanted to make sure to cover kind of the background of Solaris and Krellian specifically. Mutant in addition to a Wells. Because I feel like those inspirations are pretty key to understanding some of what's going on here. There's a lot to unpack with all of that, and obviously, like, the scenario in Solaris or in Childhood's End, they're not identical, but the fact that there is a station that's floating above this planet named Solaris is significant, I would say.
Well, even the analogous reporting to the overlords.
Yes.
Because I don't think the Solarian people know who the Digimon are.
Yeah, the Gazelle Ministry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Krellian is Lord Krellian, Overlord Karellan. Wells are pretty good. How about you? What? And people do have odd abilities, right? Like, we've got Seitan has his arcane abilities here. Faye has Ki. Ellie has ether ability. You know, everybody seems to have these interesting superhuman abilities. So,
right.
It's pretty interesting. There's quite a lot. Childhood's End is, it's probably one of the most important works to seeing kind of the inspiration for what is going on, but it's not identical. It certainly isn't. So, yeah, if you want to kind of see where a lot of these concepts and things came from, not to mention names, Karellan, that's a good work to check out. Another interesting thing that I forgot to mention, there was an attempt, I believe, to do I'll just Omega Sol him. There was an attempt to do an adaptation of Childhood's End much earlier than like 1997, but they ended up working on 2001: A Space Odyssey instead, which is also another work that we'll be talking about as we go through this, because it's sort of in that same vein of, you know, these sci-fi high-minded concepts. Ouch! It hurts. It hurts.
Cruella de Vil. Anyway.
This is probably the densest room when it comes to just combat, in kind of this first part, at least.
Right.
But I definitely recommend it. It is a worthwhile area to go through.
Oh, yeah. This is for chest number 1819, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's definitely worth it for sure.
Yeah, there's some great treasure in here, so you're going to want to do this. I definitely recommend it.
For sure.
Almost through these monsters. This room actually is giving me some weird flashbacks to Saga Frontier. There are a couple of rooms where you open a thing and, like, monsters come pouring out at you, and they all kind of, like, there's some similar sprite work on them. So, yeah, I mean, around the same time, I'm a human, used to be. Sort of a contemporary of this game, Squaresoft, so it makes sense. But it's not a straight asset. I really need to heal Seitan. After this fight, I'm going to heal him.
If he doesn't die first.
Yeah, I keep meaning to use an Omega Sol, but I'm kind of getting dogpiled. Maybe I'll just use inner healing on him. Stop stealing my AP. Actually, you know, it'll be alright.
Better your AP than your HP.
For now, anyway, yeah.
Right.
You have sight in the power crisis. You'd be hitting like a truck.
Yeah, he already hits pretty hard.
Yeah.
You haven't been able to heal.
Yep. I'm just kind of getting bum rushed by everything. Yeah, we'll go ahead and just... I could use an item, but Sazanami's going to be plenty.
There you go. Explodies!
Looks like it does so much damage, but if you look at how much damage Faye actually took there, it's not much.
Right. Took like 40 points, something like that.
Yeah,
45 maybe.
45, yep. Elemental death blows, so much fun. Oh boy. Did you have any other thoughts on what's occurred thus far? I kind of have exhausted the things I wanted to cover this time, although there's certainly plenty more to discuss here.
Yeah. God, there's so much to unpack. Like, where do you even begin?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the, I guess, some of the speech at the dedication ceremony. Experiment problem. So Emperor Cain shows up. Whether that's the actual emperor or a puppet, I don't know.
Clone, maybe. I think they mentioned clone, yeah.
Possibly cloning, yeah. Completely irrelevant to this speech. And again, grain of salt, because I know they could be just saying something to appease the masses. But the people chosen by God, we the Gazel, will return to God's paradise, to the sleeping mother God. The time for our immortality has come. So I took that as, while even the first class Solarians might be assuming that he's talking about all of Solaris.
Yeah, the Gazel.
I think he's talking about the Gazel ministry specifically.
Yeah.
And now maybe he means just the first class Solarians and the Gazel ministry, like maybe it's a bigger group. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's talking about just the ministry.
Sure.
Because that's been like their goal this entire time, is to do something with this.
To reunite with God.
Right.
Ether Veiler, and this
That's
is
a good
a Death Blower 3, so that will allow you to do the XX Death Blow in your gears.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I personally, of the Death Blowers, I like the 1 the most, because you can just kind of pop up to attack level 1 and then do the really efficient Triangle X. But they're all good. They're all very good Death Blows. For 3, I tend to just go for Hyper Mode. You know, if I'm already at 3, I'll just kind of wait for Hyper Mode to proc. There's merit in not doing that. But anyways.
Right. What we got going on here?
Forward.
More exploration.
Got like a big old tunnel here.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if something was about to start up or not. What the heck?
Lots of weird, crazy looking stuff in here.
Is it like purging? Or not purging, but cleaning?
Yeah, it looks like maybe
sterilizing.
Yeah, sterilizing, yeah.
That's the word I was looking for, sterilizing. Purge is such a terrible word for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not what it's doing, I don't think.
Right, sterilizing. I was going to say like purging the bacteria off of you was where my brain was at, but like no, sterilization is what that is called. Anyway, all that to ask is the question, like, who or what is the sleeping mother god? Right?
They also mentioned Mahanan as the resting place of God.
Right, which I've got. That's coming up in my notes. I had the dialogue like split up, right?
Yeah.
So, the sleeping mother god, I think, correlates to the mother the Digimon continuously reference.
Sure.
And I obviously this is the person that Groff is wanting to kill, destroy.
Mm-hmm.
Now the question is Mother God someone like Ellie, right? Like, because again, we've talked about how Faye and Ellie seem to possess something, whether that's again a spirit or are the actual reincarnations of something.
Gotta go get a password for that door.
It's you know it's hard to know.
Yeah,
but the more things are revealed, the more I'm leaning toward like a presence, a separate presence entity, mind maybe that's in a person, right?
Didn't near the beginning of the game you mentioned that you felt that Satan had some sort of presence in him?
I think so.
Like an angel?
Yeah, I think I said something along that line. I would have to go back and look at my exact wording, but yes, akin to that.
Right.
And I've kind of stuck to that for most of the playthrough. It's waffled a little bit, but in general, I still feel like there's another mind there, whatever that is.
Right.
And especially because words like transmigrate were used recently, and there's a type and an anti-type, which means if conditions aren't right, it moves from the original selected vessel, let's say, to a different vessel. So I don't know, like, what...
Wait, what means that exactly? Type and anti-type?
Type and anti-type. Well, anti-type is the word being used, right?
Ah, yes, anti-type, yeah.
So specifically, like, theoretically, again, Ellie has the Mother God spirit in her. But if conditions aren't met properly, it will transmigrate from Ellie to, say, Myung, or another person that doesn't match the specific parameters that the Digimon need for whatever it is they're trying to accomplish. And I feel like it's a really rough explanation of what I'm trying to get at, because it feels a little more nuanced than that. But
well, it's not 100% clear yet either, right?
Right. So all that to say is, if this Mother God is the same Mother God that it's going to be confusing. This is where I wrote down. If this mother is the same as Mother God and mother is currently Ellie, then we have some issues.
Yeah, right. Like there's clearly some sort of conflict up and coming in that sort of a case. So.
Right. But it's also very interesting because Groff explicitly did not attack Ellie.
Well, in one case, he even saved her life.
Well, yeah, he saved her life and then chose not to attack her when she was fighting him.
Right.
And Groff doesn't do anything without a purpose.
Indeed.
And he knows a lot. Like, Satan holds back a lot of information. I'm pretty sure Groff knows more than Satan does. Or at least they're on the same level of knowledge.
It would stand to reason. Yeah, I mean, Groff maybe they have vast knowledge, but different subsets.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. But enough for him to see Ellie and go, oh, that's insert whatever. But he could also be Eric in disguise. I don't know. Like.
Good, yeah.
What's that sound? That is a music box. It is probably an audio signals password.
Yeah, so...
Okay.
Yeah, so it's an audio signal password. It's basically the way to get through the upcoming door. We're just gonna kind of input what it is, but I believe there's you have an ability to kind of do a trial by error thing with
Gotcha.
that.
So yeah, so all of that from the first two sentences.
Yeah.
And then we get into, we have opened the door to Mahanan, the place where God rests, the source of wisdom and power.
Right.
And even when it was mentioned the first time, I've been mulling over what Mahanan would actually be. And I really think, for lack of a better term, it's like a super room.
It's a what?
Like it's a super room is what I'm calling it.
A super room.
Okay. Yeah, like this. It's like this central room that has all of this like physical information that you can access.
Interesting. Yeah.
And within that information, this archive of data, essentially, you've got formula for, say, life, longevity, or immortality, and you've got information on how to create these powerful weapons and how to insert whatever your heart's desire, because it's just the collective archive of a past race's knowledge. So wisdom and power, right? But even more than that, I think that, because this is where God rests, I think there's a physical form of the mother god that we have yet to encounter.
Right.
Or maybe we have, like, but not realized it, right? So, like,
sure.
So if the spirit or the mind of this mother god has been, you know, inhabiting the bodies of people over the centuries, theoretically, there's still a physical body that could still exist.
And just as a reminder, Mahanan is, I believe, a reference to fourth heaven or Eden. So what you're talking about could very much be what that is, right? Like,
right.
With regards to, like, maybe there's a tree of life, a tree of knowledge in there.
Right.
It would stand to reason.
Right, and it could be physical plants that do it, right? Or it could be the fruit of knowledge, right? And so I was like, oh, if it's a physical body, is it the girl with the purple hair from the beginning of the game? I don't know. I still need to know who she is. You know,
who is she? Yeah.
Who is she? But I specifically thought about different sci-fi animes I've watched, and in one of them in particular, Outlaw Star, which if you haven't seen it, it's a fairly good anime if you like kind of like a Western thing. It's not Firefly Western, but it is.
It's not a sci-fi
like a
Western.
Right, it still has a Western feel to it, but it is predominantly sci-fi.
Okay.
Like there are these mercenaries or outlaws for hire who can do various odd jobs and stuff. It's actually where the caster gun comes from, which is kind of like you load up with the gun with like magic bullets and you fire it and it does different things. Really expensive ammunition.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, it's a really interesting story. I think you'd like it, truthfully.
Yeah.
But all that to say, one of the main characters is like the heart of the ship that they use. And I don't know like the science behind it, but she is required to fully take full advantage of the capabilities of their ship.
Right.
Without it, it's just a regular old spaceship. But with her connection to it, it becomes so much more. And so I'm wondering if this sleeping mother god is like that. It's an entity that's required to kind of be there to actually gain access to that wisdom and that power.
Also, check out that weird thing.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what that is.
You know what? I'm not either. I don't know what that one is. I checked the panels and we can't really investigate it, so it's some kind of weird futuristic computer panel with a VR display examining.
Right.
Looks like a cross-section of a structure of some kind.
Right. Which could be an outward appearance of Mahanan. I don't know. Who knows? But so yeah, I tend to think that Mahanan's like this physical location, and I think it's part of the big spaceship that like crashed everywhere.
Sure.
Because we've seen pieces of it, especially underground, just about every place we've gone.
That's true, yeah. We've seen Fort Jasper appears to be a piece of the ship. Babel Tower seemed to be a piece as well.
Right.
And
The Shavad itself was created from Babel Tower.
Right.
You know.
Makes you wonder if maybe Solaris, right?
I think Solaris is a part of the ship. I think that even the underground ethos technology stuff was repurposed ship parts, and like I think anything future tech we're dealing with has to do with the ship at this point.
Yeah. repurposed. They've gone through it and put together new things based on the. I mean, gears are salvaged as well.
Right.
So,
which those were probably part of the ship's defense mechanisms.
Right.
And the reason I think it's a physical place too, maybe even underground, is you get the phrase, the surface drones will no doubt use this opportunity to seize its power, which means it's accessible to land dwellers and not just Solarians.
Right.
So it's probably on one of the continents.
That would stand to reason, wouldn't it?
Right. And I think I propositioned this before too. I think Mahanan, not just a physical place, but I think it became inaccessible or destroyed or something during the Diablos catastrophe.
So there was access to it before that?
Right. Well, there was talk about it where they had lost access to it.
Sure, yeah.
Like the doors of Mahanan had become closed or whatever. And so what I think happened is that as like a casualty of the catastrophe, let's say, the access to that area became completely blocked off, maybe because of just the decimation of the land, maybe it lost a power source, maybe whatever.
Right.
And so it's just taken them centuries to excavate it back out to a place where they can get back into it. Maybe it required repairing and all kinds of extra stuff happening.
Right.
Before they could access it. So I think there was some of that like physical work being done, which might be part of what Krellian's been working on all this time too.
Yeah, it very much could be.
So.
Okay, audio signal, up, down, left, and right. Directional buttons allow you to input it.
Aha.
X to finish, circle to exit. All right. Boom. All right, so for those curious, the correct input is up, down, up, left, right.
And for all the people who are noticing me like cough in the background, apologies. Allergies are kicking my butt right now.
Okay, so all of these are staircases that lead to the same place, but they all have a treasure in them, so we'll go ahead and grab all those.
Sounds good. Yeah. Man. And that was just Kane's speech.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to it. We're starting to see kind of, what do they talk about up here?
Yeah, and then of course Kane says, let's show those beasts, the lambs, essentially how powerful we are.
Our power.
We're not going to let them get access to this thing.
Can't let them in. They're the enemies.
Yeah. And then Krellian takes the stage and Ellie's like, oh, hey, that's the true leader of Solaris. And of course, I'm just like, excuse-moi?
Yup.
Since when did that happen? Because the Digimen were interacting with Krellian like he was at least equal.
True.
And they still refer to Kane as being an authority in a lot of ways. Like, oh, will Kane approve of this? So, like, what power does Kane have if he's just a figurehead? So I don't really understand that full relationship.
Yeah, it's a little complicated, yeah.
I don't know if they're like branches of government or if it's maybe the Digimen don't realize that Kane isn't actually the leader and they think Krellian is beneath them, but he's actually been giving them directions through Kane. It seems really complex.
Or they're very arrogant and they're just like, no, we're actually in charge.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course they're arrogant. It goes even far beyond that. But, like, they still account for Kane.
Yes.
For some reason. But they don't account for Krellian. So it makes me think that they don't realize Krellian's position in all of this.
Well, and remember, the Ministry has shown contempt for what Krellian's after, which is the nanotech.
Right.
So
that's true.
Yeah, so there's a bit of an antagonistic relationship there as well, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, he shows up. Faye's like, wait a minute, he looks familiar. Cue flashback. Oh, by the way, Faye equals Lacan. have fun with that.
Yeah, there's that whole thing where we actually get to, because that was the first time we see it. It's just like a weird scene where Faye is apparently painting Ellie and then Lacan, and then that's all we get. And then now we've gotten an extended scene where he's talking. We're hearing about kind of his time, which is very interesting.
And there's a real interesting interaction there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't tell what's happening around that conversation. Like what brings the context there? Like is this at the point where Solaris and the land dwellers and Shavot are fighting each other? Like, or is this before that happens?
Yeah, in the general time frame, right? Because Krellian mentions his forces, like his security, or I don't remember what word he uses, but and then they're like, it's not completely safe because of Solaris. So they are dealing with Solaris at least at this point.
But maybe this is like early before it becomes a full-blown war. Who knows?
Could be.
But anyway, they're talking like they're old friends. They talk about being under Melchior's tutelage.
Right.
And somewhere in the process, it seems like Krellian devises some form of like a medical cure-all.
Mm-hmm.
Which
the tank.
Yeah, it's, I was like, oh, it looks like a Bacta tank. For those who like Star Wars, but it also kind of like gave the beginnings of that mad scientists vibe as well.
Yeah,
just kind of with the aesthetics of the room.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And then he said, so with this, even Sophia could, and then it like trails off, right? It's a weird implication that Sophia is dealing with a sickness that cannot be cured with traditional methods. Right. Perhaps even a fatal one. Perhaps. That like shortens her life, depending on what it is.
Right. Yeah. So maybe that's why Krellian's doing what he's doing to help her.
Well, yeah. So like, I wonder if end doesn't justify the means, but I understand your end.
Right.
Kind of approach. Like maybe his descent into madness is because he wasn't able to save Sophia. Maybe he had feelings for her.
Yeah. So
why does his hair go gray? I don't know.
So extra ARDX here, by the way, is I think it's the top extra AR. It's a 100 defense armor. So it's a good bit higher than the silver AR. Silver AR has gel damage down, so it's a little more situational. I'm going to go ahead and slap this on Veltal. I've got Death Blower and stuff going on over here, so... Anyway, yeah, it is interesting to me when you start to kind of piece together, like, what is Krellian up to? Why is he into science the way he is? What is his objective? Was he trying to help Sophia? What happened to her? There's still quite a lot to fill in, but we do have a decent amount we can fill in with regards to what we know 500 years ago. There was the Diablos invasion. There was all the other things that were going on around that time. There was the war between forces of Shavot and Solaris. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah, and then we kind of get back into what we talked about before, where Bar's been captured, the revival of the progenitors, all of that.
Right.
So I'm not going to rehash that.
Yeah.
So I'm just going down my notes at this point, kind of like what we did with Babel Tower.
Yeah, definitely.
So the next like major kind of point of interest is Ellie's home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which most of that's just kind of good story building, but doesn't have like huge, deep lore implications. Mm-hmm. But there are a couple of things, right? Like obviously the potential illicit affair between the nanny and the father, or like how her mother speaks and implies that she will always be either like a daughter or is her actual biological daughter. We don't know. And at the end of the day, I don't know that it matters necessarily.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't matter to her. She's like, no, you're my daughter.
Right.
That's the end of it.
Right. But then she gets access to her dad's computer, which is clearly a bad idea. Eric finds out immediately, calls the military police.
Right.
And eventually Faye leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And Ellie stays behind. Faye convinces Ellie for like all of 30 seconds that she should stay behind and be home.
Yeah.
And to be done with the military. Like, you don't have to keep fighting our fight, basically.
Right. I don't remember what this is.
What'd you get?
The Sonic Wave.
Oh, okay.
Item.
This is here.
Yeah, I don't recall what that is. We'll go ahead and move on. I don't think it's anything too critical. I'm just kind of checking off all the boxes for treasure here, but
Right.
it might be a weapon or something.
Yeah, fair enough.
Could be a new whip for Bart, actually.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So anyway, they separate for a minute. Faye runs into Citan. Citan gets them across the security checkpoint.
The same way as Ellie did, yeah.
Right, and Faye is immediately like, wait a minute. Only first-class citizens or military IDs can work.
Right.
And Citan, in the least inconspicuous way he could possibly have been. This man has been nothing but a cool head this entire time. Is like flustered. Is like, it could be from when I was in the military. Haha. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
Like, it is so out of character that I'm surprised Faye didn't notice. Or maybe he did and chose not to press the issue, but
yeah, he's like, well, anyway.
Yeah, because Faye has proven, like, sometimes he misses obvious stuff, but he's also proven to regularly ask very relevant questions.
Yeah.
Which means he has a good insight on things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It also is interesting that this is one of the first times we see Citan in this situation where he's like, how do I explain this?
Right. And I think it's because he's still figuring himself out to some degree as well. Like, he's
sure
taking up the sword from Yuri as part of making that decision, whatever that decision is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he feels trepidation about dealing with all of this.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I think he's very much in a situation where he's not sure if he's compromised or not, and what he's going to, what is the choice he will make, that kind of thing.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Right. Well, I mean, even with the Soylent system, he had a moment where he's like, is killing somebody and then eating of their remains permissible?
Right.
And he's mulling over that question for himself.
Mm-hmm. Because he's by himself. Faye and Ellie have moved on.
Right. And then he nods his head as if he's come to a conclusion.
He's resolved
on whatever that answer is.
Right.
Yeah. And my assumption is he has concluded that it's not permissible in any, like, at no point should that be permitted. Is my assumption is his conclusion.
That would stand to reason that would be the conclusion.
Yeah, just based off his character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
he doesn't. That's the funny thing about this, because he doesn't seem like he is a cruel person, but he is surprisingly capable of some, like, he's called it mischievous or manipulative actions.
right.
And so you kind of have to, ask the guy, like, does he believe this is for the greater good and it's not? Is he doing this while, ends justify the means? What's in his head? What is the logic of doing all of this and saying the things he says?
Right.
I've had enough of these.
What, you don't want to fight flying plastic pucks?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had a mind-blown moment earlier with these. So, shows you how observant I am. I didn't realize... So, the animation, when they're doing their ether and defense recalibration, if you watch it closely, they spin all the way around. They don't just, like, jerk to the side a couple of times. I was just like, what? How did I never notice that? Yeah, they spin
like that.
fully around.
Yeah.
Oops.
You silly man.
Yup. Just a hilarious moment. It's so easy to miss things like that sometimes.
Right. Okay. So in the 2 minutes that Ellie is not with the party, the Imperial Guard shows up at her door.
Yep.
Not the military police. And the commanding officer there basically says that Corellian specifically wants Ellie. And Eric almost immediately seems to understand what the implication of that is.
Right.
Which we still don't really know what the implication means.
He does say he will not surrender his daughter to Corellian's experiments.
Right, but that could mean anything.
Yep. And as we've been going through this, it's like, oh, how much of this? And he used to be the superintendent of the Soylent system, so he knows something about the experiments going on here.
Right, but I really don't think Corellian's experiments regarding Ellie are the same as the ones with the wells. Which maybe that's what Eric's thinking of, but
it could be, yeah. I think he's thinking of the standard experiments, but in that case, why would he want Eric's daughter so badly? You know, she's a high-ranking Gebler officer. Even if it's like, you're a traitor, there are processes in an advanced society, like court-martial or something, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it's certainly odd. Like, it raises suspicion. What does Corellian actually want with Ellie?
Right. The fact that Corellian goes out of his way to order men to get her specifically is really kind of telling.
Right.
What it tells, I have yet to decide, but it is a telling moment.
Well, and Corellian in that flashback mentions Sophia, and if they really do look alike, which they do seem to,
right?
It's it makes you wonder, what is Corellian actually thinking?
Yeah, no, I definitely think there's some connection there.
Right.
Which there has been, at least to some degree, for a while.
Oh, yes. Oh, this room.
What the heck?
Uh-huh.
What is this place?
Everybody's here.
Holograms of us? Why are there holograms of us in Solaris Place? In a Solaris Place.
Right.
Whoa.
All right.
Oh, it's the dossiers.
Yes. So, Faye has a lamb's number. It's interesting because we're seeing
infinite.
Ether response is infinite. Anima alignment is infinite. Comments. Contact.
Oh, baby.
Yep. So this is... We've heard about the contact before. Faye is recorded as being the contact in the comments here.
Immediate disposal desired.
Right.
His existence is a threat to mankind, basically.
Yes, that's one would surmise based on previous conversation that the Gazel Ministry desires his immediate disposal.
Right. Oh.
Here we go.
I like it when I'm right.
Yep. Ellie. So she has a minister number, not a lamb's number, because she is Solarian.
Oh, interesting.
Also has ether response and anima alignment of infinite, and she is a possible anti-type in the comments. Approval for retrieval and necessary analysis granted.
That is fascinating. If she's the possible anti-type, then who's the current mother?
Good question.
Is it Marguerite?
Is it who?
Marguerite.
That's an interesting question.
Or I don't know. It's
anybody else come to mind?
Well, okay, so Spaghetti at the Wall.
Yep.
Could also be Myong, but that's only because we were talking about how Mion kind of tends to be an antithesis to Elheim, right?
Name spelled backwards thing.
Yeah. Right. So very superficial level of like Spaghetti at the Wall.
Mm-hmm.
But Myong also has, I don't know, there's ways that she acts and there's things that happen around her that
she knows a lot. A lot.
There's something happening there that seems important.
Myong is very important, yes.
Yeah. And And it's possible that maybe if Graf recognizes Elheim as the potential anti-type, you wouldn't want to harm that vessel.
Right.
Interesting.
Seitan. He has a lamb's number. His real name is listed below, Hugo Ricto. Or Ricto. He has an actual ether response. That should say anima alignment. So he has...
Anims.
Yeah, he has an anims alignment of 98. I'm not 100% sure what these numbers exactly mean, but it is interesting that he actually has a number and it's not infinite like Ellie and Faye.
Right.
Same with ether response. No comments on Seitan. Also, his last name is missing from the top of the entry, which is interesting.
Ooh,
and if he's from Solaris, he has a lamb's number, but yeah, it's sort of interesting. This file is very interesting to me. I like this one. But we
That's
finally
584 million.
Yes.
Okay.
Yup. Yeah, and if we go back to Faye, he has a lamb's number as well. But it is much lower.
Why is it so much lower?
Uh-huh. Good question. And then
Oh.
Elheim, of course, has a minister number. So why doesn't Seitan? Interesting.
Has Seitan been re-educated?
Good question.
Or no, maybe even rearranged, right? Because they said rearranging was a mixture of amnesia and brainwashing.
Right.
Which means altered memories.
Bartholomew Fatima.
Well, his lamb number is even lower than Seitan's. 221 million.
Right. Yep.
Hmm.
Interesting, isn't it? We do have positive ether response and anima alignments, 90 anima alignment. Upon
Dan Anima's retrieval?
Right. Schedule for animus adjustment.
Our Dan?
Alright, so I'm just going to say no, but there is a reason I want to clarify that right now, and I'm not leaving it ambiguous because
my Dan.
I'm gonna say definitely not on that. It's not Dan the character that we fought at the tournament.
It'd be a weird place to have that information anyway.
Yes, yeah, it wouldn't make any sense in that sentence. But yeah, we're starting to see some interesting things here in the comments. Dan Anima's retrieval, schedule for animus adjustment. So we've heard about anima relics. Those have been equated to Omnigears, and animus adjustment, the animus factor. So there are plans for Bart, which is interesting.
Right.
Billy. Got a minister number.
Yeah.
Yep. Billy Black. Billy Lee Black. Schedule for animus adjustment. Not a lot to see there, but it is interesting that he has a minister number.
Probably because of his work with the ethos, I guess.
Yes, I believe so.
As an etone.
And because Jesse. Test mixture number.
That is a multi-page entry.
No, it's just really long. Yeah. Less ether response, anima alignment, created by the ethos as an experimental mixture used by the Kislev Battling Association to measure battle potential. The data has been transferred, scheduled for animus adjustment. So, when we were talking about, oh shoot, I'm not remembering the word. There was a word that the ministry said, and oh my goodness. Give me a moment. I'm actually going to find it because this is important. Okay. Sufrati. That was the word. The subject of the M project. So, Rico is who they're referring to by Sufrati. I don't know that we've fully made that connection just yet, but there's a reason he is a test mixture number, because Sufrati is a project that has test mixtures. So he was subject to that project.
Okay.
He also animus adjustment as well. So There's a decent amount about Ricardo here.
They're all like scheduled for some type of animus adjustment, it looks like.
Yeah, it does look like it. Here we go.
Man, you even have something on Emeralda. Oh, of course he does.
Code name, NA, ether response, no anima alignment. Nanomachine colony. Data analysis complete, annul and dispose. So she has served her purpose per Corellian in the Ministry's data at this point. Choo-choo. Important. Primitive animal. Unusable. Annul and dispose.
Oh, don't do Choo-choo dirty that way.
Choo-choo.
She's not unusable. She can turn into a giant.
Exactly. Maria Balthazar. She does have an anima alignment, but comments state unusable, and a lamb's number as well. So, we've gone through the files of the party, and I struggle to really determine which one's the most interesting. Probably Faye or Ellie. But yeah, there's lots of good information here. Lots to process about the files.
Why is Faye in the hundreds of thousands?
Yeah, look at that low number.
Oh, excuse me. He's in the 1.5 million.
Right.
Instead of the 500 million.
Right. So much lower. But now we know who the contact is. Faye is the contact. What does that mean? Well, we're going to have to find out.
Actually, I had a note about the contact. I think it was from the previous episode, actually. Not
oh,
this
really?
Most recent one, but the one before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ellie being potentially the anti-type, I think still gives credibility to her being that of the mother, potentially, right? She's at least reacting and to the stimulus that the mother would respond to. Which, if there's an anti-type and a regular type, I guess, then that would make sense.
Right.
But in episode 24, they're talking about the anti-type. And word contact comes up at some point.
Right.
Oh, Emeralda. They're talking about Emeralda, and it's like the artificial organism was a creation between the contact and the anti-type 4,000 years ago. So I think that's why Ellie is perceived as a potential anti-type, if she has the same like line of continuity that even Faye does.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So there's also the potential that she's not the anti-type. So I don't know. That's interesting. Regardless,
Indeed.
If we were talking about if Ellie's memories are that of the mother, this is what I wrote, then is there also a father spirit that isn't Faye currently? Because I was assuming there's a mother spirit and a father spirit. And in my, as a comment on father, I said, see also contact.
Interesting. Interesting idea.
So, anyway.
Yeah.
Huh? This one won't open either. We're trapped.
Got it covered.
And that was from 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Look at me. Figuring stuff out like a smart man.
You got
the
this.
Brain going.
Galaxy brain happening.
This way. Why is the deactivation code for
the door lock known?
Doc, wait. What's this facility for? Oh, asking good questions. This place was not meant to be seen since the origin of time. I'm sorry, what? This facility centers around the Emperor and the Ministry's longevity experiments. The beginning of time. The origin of time? Yes. 10,000 years ago, beings called humans were born here.
10,000 years ago.
The first were the Emperor and the Ministry's elders. Wow, they are way older than I thought they were going to be. Holy crap.
Yeah, I've been waiting for the reveal of just how old these people actually are. So there were comments about the Emperor's body reaching his limit. He's about 10,000 years old.
How could a human live 10,000 years? Longevity experiments.
Mm-hmm.
Now only the Emperor is left. His destiny is to never die. However, the Ministry is different. They're in a big computer ball.
Right.
Once, during the Diabolos invasion, the Ministry elders died, losing their bodies. Now the Solaris governing Ministry exists as data and memory banks. Why do you know all this?
Mm-hmm. Why does he know?
Each of the personalities are bits of data. It's the data on the memory bank? Having neither flesh nor souls, they are just binary numbers. They both exist and do not exist at the same time. After the fall, wanting to resurrect their bodies and create a worthy vessel, they transferred a research facility that was once the Soylent system on the land of Etranonk.
On the land to Etranonk.
Sorry, yes, on the land to Etranonk.
Yep.
Eventually, the facility was no longer only for the Emperor's life and the Ministry's resurrection, but it began producing food and drugs with additives that controlled the public. The memory cube Faye and them were using was meant for obtaining living data. Of course, the Ethos also sent various data to help. That means we were living for those elderly people of Gazel? Yes. They're transferring and taking living data? Via memory cubes to the Ministry so they can use them to resurrect their bodies? Yes. You mean those mutants getting disassembled at that factory were too? Basically, they wish to reuse the useless dregs. That's horrid. How could they? Hold on, Faye. Something's not right.
Oh boy.
Seitan, how would you know that?
Asking the question.
Now I'm beginning to wonder if maybe Kane answers to Seitan and not the other way around. Not even the government or the army knows such things.
They just looking back and forth like, uh-oh, something's happening here. Wow.
What? Come to think of it, seems like we took the long way here on purpose. There must have been a faster way to pardon them. Also, the route to get to this block can't even be downloaded on the map. So how did we know what street we were on? Doc, didn't you also find out? That's impossible. First of all, that partition we took to get into this block. That panel was displayed to be a P4 facility. Even a high-ranking officer of Solaris can't get in here. You think they'd leave a facility like that unlocked and open? And you could open it. Who exactly are you? Hey, wait a minute. It could have been luck. Faye, buddy.
Faye, come on now.
Just keep your mouth shut right now. Something's wrong. You were able to get into Solaris under martial law. Sneak into the palace, get through a P4 level door, and even learn the purpose of the P4 facility. How is that possible? Even farther, I'm sure it's possible you were in Solaris then. Even Jesse, who was also in Solaris then, didn't know the motive behind the M project. So, Seitan, why do you know? You know even more details than Maria. Something's not right. I know it. Ellie, I'm not done. I still got a whole mountain of evidence to throw at you. I should have noticed something sooner, Seitan. Who are you? Aw, crap.
What?
What? Hey, are you okay? Ellie? Doc, Seitan. Damn, got us. Ellie, Seitan, where are you? Rap nuggets.
Let's see. Yeah, I think we gotta head this way.
I Oh,
Problems.
damn, no good. It won't open. I didn't quite catch, like, I read it, but I wasn't able to process it. What are they doing? Like, they're taking the memory cube data and creating bodies with it based off of the living. I didn't quite
Yes,
fully understand.
yes.
Okay.
All of the experimentation and gathering data is for the purpose of the ministry regaining their bodies. Is the reason they're doing a lot of this stuff. Mainly the memory cube data was what was being referred to there.
Okay. So they haven't actually created these bodies yet. That's a
No.
separate like thing that they're working on.
Right.
But the experimentation on the wells is probably a part of figuring out how to create a body for these guys in. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm tracking now, and that's kind of what I was thinking Project M was kind of about.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ellie. Doc, you there? Welcome to the holodeck.
Well, what?
Oh, wait, no, this is more like Matrix.
This...
Oh. He's getting rearranged.
Oh, no.
Not again. Ugh. Huh? This is... Can't get it.
You're stuck?
This is... What is this? Why are you showing me this? Who did this? Ellie, Doc. Where are you? Where... You brought about this spectacle? That voice is the one which haunts you. Cursed, untouchable one. O God's beloved child, those who prevent our prayers. Get, destroy, burn with God's fire. What? What the fuck?
Doc.
Doc? These guys, what is this? Bart? Billy? Doc, what's going on? What are you all... Doc, answer me. One of the Solaris Guardian Angels is here, Hugo Richter.
Yep. The Guardian Angel, Citan, or Huga.
This man is Kane, receiving the orders from the one known as the Emperor. You've entered his realm and have been under his continued supervision. Citan is Kane?
No.
Okay.
I believe they are saying that Kane is here and you've been under the supervision, and Citan is a guardian angel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little muddled in the localization and stuff. Yeah.
Solaris Guardian Angel monitoring me. Oh, yes. We've guided Solaris and even selected the Animus, which have been drawn to you, and guided you here to Solaris. The Animus is needed for our resurrection. These are our bodies. This is what we possess. Okay, so I was
Yeah, you read
in
it
the right line.
Yeah.
I was in the right line for the party as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I mean, not cool, but yes, this is the only reason we exist. The bodies of Bart and the others belong to you? I don't think so. Is that true, Doc? What they are saying? Never mind. I'll talk about that in a minute. Why so apprehensive? Oh, don't come in with that music.
Uh-huh.
Is it that you were sold out by one of your trusted? I'm not talking to you guys. Doc, answer me. I deserve answers.
Mm-hmm.
3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? For 3 years, I have been by your side. I had to determine whether you were going to be our enemy or not. Revenge? Yes, the enemy. Your existence is a threat to us. It was necessary to keep an eye on you. Well, now I wonder if they somehow captured him before and messed with his memories and treated it like it was an injury rather than...
Right. Yeah, there is some reason why Faye doesn't remember things. It's suspicious. Right. More suspicious the more we learn about this.
Right. Up to this point, it's been, oh, he was injured, and the trauma caused, like, it was like a brain injury or whatever,
right.
And he lost memories. But as we've been talking about rearranging and stuff, and I was just thinking about it not even 2 minutes ago, I was like, I wonder if Faye got rearranged.
Interesting.
But with Citan being a guardian angel and perceiving that, yeah, I maybe not, but I wonder.
Right.
The one who ordered you to be watched was Cain. We were planning on the maturation of the animus and your termination. He also sent Hyuga to you. However, every attempt to terminate you has failed because of that good-for-nothing trash. Speaking of Ramses.
Uh-huh.
Even so, we now possess animus. Hyuga has fulfilled his duties well. Oh, is Jesse another guardian angel?
Good question.
That would explain why he comes in and interrupts frequently. Is that it? You were in with these guys? That's why you... Everyone? Why? You've had your way all this time with us land dwellers. You already own the world. What more do you want? You must know by now that we plan to resurrect God. God will awaken from his long slumber after man has populated the land. Then Mahanan too will awaken. Aerial paradise, Mahanan? The place fell to earth. Paradise? Ha ha ha! That may be a proper description. Our ark. In the center block, Lord Mahanan is sealed in. Okay, so Mahanan is not just a place, is a individual.
This may be a localization error of the Lord of Mahanan is sealed in. I'll check on it, but yeah, Lord Mahanan or the Lord of Mahanan is sealed in, because Mahanan has so far been referred to as a place.
Right, so either way, there's still this entity within the Mahanan, so... Okay, I'm tracking.
Yep.
Let's go. That is the source of God's wisdom, a paradise of knowledge. Using that knowledge, we will resurrect the awakened God and build our ark. So they want to get the heck out of Dodge. They want to leave the planet.
Yep.
To take us both into the great universe. The construction of our ark. To reign over God's forces in this great universe. The creation of the angel Malak, the M product, was for that very purpose.
Malak. It's the first mention of Malak, I believe.
It's the second, because it was called the Malak Project.
Yes, there you go. So, yeah, the Malak Project, the creation of the angel Malak, that's the purpose of it.
What do you mean? We are orphans in this universe. We were thrown away onto this planet in solitude along with God. We humans were not born on this planet. Long ago, we came here from another heavenly body. We are beings from an alien planet. Yes, that's really not surprising.
Right. It is to Faye.
Right, no, but I'm just saying at this point, when it was revealed that they were 10,000 years old, I was like, oh, they were denizens of the dang ship, you know, like... That's ridiculous. This is true. You have seen the various regions of this world, which means they've, over 10,000 years, they've gotten really good at manipulating the cycles of humanity.
Right.
So, Why do you think there are no records of humans before 10,000 years ago?
Talking about Old Man Ball and talking about how humans appeared on this planet 10,000 years ago.
Right.
Way back at the beginning of the game.
Right. Or, I don't know, failure of oral tradition? Did we have writing at that point? I don't know. And we barely have evidence of 10,000 years ago in our actual reality.
Other than the fossil record, which is
right, but I'm
what Bao was talking about. The fossil record, just humans just appeared.
That's okay. That's fair. I was thinking more like liturgical and other
sure
literature.
Yeah, literary and historical sources, primary sources.
Right.
Yep.
Right. But I always forget about, physical. Anyway, this is the will of God. The God's revival has been fated since before the time before Genesis. We will be one with God.
The time of Genesis. Huh?
Yeah, that caused me to scratch my head a little bit.
Yep.
Attaining a new animus, we will once again return to the starry skies. So is animus like a power source?
Well, has been referred to as the animus factor.
Right.
And then the files on several of the party members referred to animus as there as well.
Well, yeah, I know, but like
adjustment.
Right, but to obtain a new animus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, it seems like it's more than just...
So, follow me here. If they want the bodies of the party members, and the party members are scheduled for animus adjustment, could that not be the same as them attaining a new animus? Assuming that's a quality some people have, because the animus factors have been manipulated to surround Fae.
Okay, so gaining bodies, they can then once return
to the starry
space.
Skies.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Okay. To once again begin their long lives.
Right.
That is the meaning of our existence. To live forever. That is our supreme objective. So you're not planning on using Solaris? Solaris' power to dominate the world? Of course. What meaning is there in having control of a planet as insignificant as this? God has given us the right to rule over the universe. Yes, only we who do not carry impure blood have the right to a pardon. Okay. So, we will resurrect God. It's been an eternity since our exile from paradise. I got words for pure blood thought processes.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a reason why several words, notably Jugend, are kind of Nazi coded references to Nazi Germany.
Sure.
There's a lot of weird fascism and racial purity stuff going on in Solaris as well.
Right.
And then they believe themselves to be the most pure, ironically, because they don't have the bodies they're seeking, which is interesting. It's like they're free from sin.
Well, I think they view themselves as pure blood because they were original humans.
Yeah. Also
now,
that.
Do they maintain being purebloods when they steal the bodies of other people?
Perhaps if they have the animus factor, they do. They don't just want anyone's bodies.
Well, that's true. Right-hearted humans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. If the time of God's revival does not come, we will have to follow the path to destruction. But having attained animus, our resurrection is near. Next is God's resurrection. I hope you all burn in a fire. I'm sorry. Krellian? This one only waits for the awakening. Ellie?
So Ellie's been captured.
That all happened really fast.
Yup.
Oh boy. Don't worry, Sophia. I'll save you.
Oh boy.
Where am I? I've looked into your records. Corellian? Commander? Helheim van Houten. That incident at the Jugend 1 year ago. Case 102. The release of your latent powers from that systematic administration of mental enhancement drugs. In that instant, your ether value had increased beyond 400. And in that moment, 2 were critically wounded and 3 required recycling. Oh, that is such a cold way to explain that.
Yup.
Am I right?
Recycling.
Please stop. But this record is wrong. This wasn't the usual uncontrollable mental side effects.
Hmm?
What? This was caused by the awakening of your other inner self.
Remember back when Ellie took Drive and you were commenting on how there seemed to be another self?
Yeah.
A persona? Exercise and restraint.
I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
My other self? Where's Faye? Where is everyone? They'll be used as an offering for the resurrection of the Gazel Ministry. The same fate awaits that girl, the artificial organism. I've already taken enough samples from her. I'm already well into the 4th stage of my plan. All I need now is the final factor. Hence, your friends are no longer of any use to me. They're worthless. But you are different. Maybe he siphons the animus factor out of them and then disposes of the bodies. And then creates new bodies with the energy that's the animus energy.
It's an interesting idea.
You're planning on sending them to the same fate as those people in that research facility? Doing all this for your own selfish ambitions. Do you know what you're doing? People playing with other people's lives? That's deplorable.
Agreed.
I see. So you've seen the research facility. I'll have to thank Hugo for that. Presently, the Solaris researchers are working on genetic engineering down there. It's just a nest for fools who've learned the despicable pleasure of playing with their own organic creations. They seek only serendipity and inhumanity. That is not my place. I specialize in molecular engineering. Nanotechnology. Do you know what this is? A nanomachine. A molecular machine. This is the assembler, which is one of those machines. It can break down molecules and atoms and reconstruct it into anything. Each of these spheres are equivalent to an atom. Until recently, we were only able to produce materials which were several times the size of this. Thanks to that girl, the one we obtained from the ruins of the Zeboam civilization, we are now able to make it this compact and elaborate. To think that such a mechanism was created 4,000 years ago is quite astonishing. Up until we discovered this, the work was rather crude. The best we could possibly do until now was to apply amino acid solutions to wounded areas for amelioration or to seal up any peculiar abilities. I'm sure you've had some exposure to genetics when you were in the Jugend. Each type of those enzymes inside the DNA are also molecular machines that were created by nature. That is, if we are indeed the progeny of the very first organism, what do you think of accomplishing by using that molecular machine? What connection do I have with it? All of the nanomachines up until now could recombine DNA. They couldn't uncover any information in the intron which are located in the replacements of the double helix. However, the newer nanomachines easily discovered this data. Data that originally should not have existed. And we are about to see the results of that. According to the transference record, it depicts a similar wave frequency as expected. And yes, the Ouroboros ring.
So,
Ouroboros, is it?
Ouroboros,
Okay.
something like that. A couple of things here. He refers to introns, which in DNA are kind of redundant data that normally doesn't really have anything when it comes to DNA recombination. I don't have a lot of proficiency in genetics, so I'm going on a basic understanding of it, but that is a functional understanding for what he's talking about. Also, the Ouroboros ring here, I believe, is referring to Ouroboros, the snake eating itself, the infinite symbol there.
Okay, I was just about to ask if that's what that was.
That is indeed what is being referred to. It's
Ouroboros?
Yeah, Ouroboros is never referred to anything, they never use Ouroboros. It's always going to be Ouroboros in this game. So when they are referring to that, it is a reference to Ouroboros.
Okay. Well, Ouroboros is fine too. It just
As long as we know
knowing
what it
that's
is.
context, yeah. That is it, isn't it? Myung and Lacan's actions. This explains everything. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Elheim, you were the mother. Mother? Yes. This is what your genetic exon looked like before replacement. This is the conceptualized form of the intron which carries information that isn't supposed to exist.
Mm-hmm.
Observe. This is the Ouroboros ring which contains intron information which only exists in certain people. Ouroboros, if we were to anatomize such a thing,
Anonymize, yeah.
wouldn't you be interested in what type of information it would have to offer us? Elheim, you are beautiful.
Krellian, you are creepy.
Yes, of course. Part of that could be how I'm reading it. I'm trying to be inflections. It's hard to know.
Yeah, no, I mean, Krellian is just weird. He is really weird.
He is. And since she looks so much like Sophia, I'm sure there's some projection there for him.
Probably.
When I look at you, I appreciate the artistic aspect of the human form. Its elaborateness. I can't help but feel the importance of that. As if my molecular machine is unworthy of you. You haven't changed since then.
And there you go.
Just like the other one, Lacan. What do you mean?
What are you talking about, Krellian? Now we're back here. Oh, hey, buddy.
Don't talk to me, Hugo. I'm mad at you. Ugh. Are you conscious? Well, you're alive, so I guess so. Doc. It is impossible to move. This machine was physically cut your nerve signals. You will not be able to lift a finger regardless of what your mind says. What are you going to do to me? To Bart and them? Where's Ellie? Do not worry. They have their roles. You have yours. I simply investigate. Damn it. What was I? So the battle has been fought, you say? That was discussed earlier by the Ministry. God damn it, we weren't born to be used by them. We didn't come all the way to Solaris for that. Everyone, we just want to make a place where we can belong. That's what we were fighting for. But now, it is much easier to be given a place to belong than to make one yourself. You don't even understand a simple concept like that. Only the true, childish ideas pale when placed before reality. But actually, many are satisfied with that. Being given one's place frees one from any risks. Misfortunes may be blamed on others. Do you know why people cannot exist alone, but only under some bigger concept, such as a group or a country? Or a god? People need a place to go to be themselves. The more stable it is, the more effective it is. The Ministry gives them such a place. Under total surveillance, there's no need to bear the risk of maintaining one's own individuality. They simply live under the delusion of being an individual. What could be easier? Facts are facts, so let's just accept them. It'll be easier for all of us. Resistance is futile. All right, Mr. Borg. You'll be assimilated.
That's right.
It only makes things painful. Sight, that is such a defeatist attitude.
Uh-huh.
Almost nihilistic.
Yeah.
Fate, cut the crap.
He's Satan's pretty much arguing for fascism at this point, total control of the lives of the public by the elite, basically, the governing body, the Ministry.
Right, because it's easier.
To
let them. Yeah, I understand taking the path of least resistance, but there does come a point where you need to fight back.
Right.
On that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still intend to do something about it? Look at yourself. What do you think you could possibly do at this stage? You can't move. You could not even protect your friends who fought with you when they needed you. That was uncalled for. You could not even protect the most important person in your life, Ellie. He's about to break free of this. Stop, please. And I don't know if Yuga's doing it on purpose or not. You can do nothing. Quit it. Now we may take our time and talk. Id. What? What? But we fought Id in Saboan Ruins.
We did. Hello. We haven't seen him in a minute.
Has Krellian been Ramses this entire time? That would be weird.
That would be weird.
Would not be outside the realm of what this game does, though. Gracious.
Yeah, they're not the same person.
I know. I didn't think they were, but it's just like...
Yeah.
Whew. Commander? What are you... What? What? Where? I'm asking you where? That hurts. Please stop. Where is he? Where? I know you know. Take me to him. Ramses, your obsession is troubling.
Uh-huh.
Who are you referring to when you say that man? Are you talking about Faye? Faye this. Faye that. Faye. In what way is he more superior than I? I will not accept it. I will not. Ramses, that drug, a mental stabilizer? Why are you so shook up like that? What's forcing you to go through all of this? What happened between you and Faye? Damn it, Faye. I'll show you.
He's losing it.
Ramses.
Hey, hang in there.
The heck?
Mm-hmm.
Faye, you're conscious? Now, let's go. You traitor. Yes, that's an appropriate response. Deck him in the face, please. Stop, Faye. Don't stop, Bart. He betrayed us. He betrayed us and Ellie. Stop, Faye. It's your mistake.
What?
Let go. Let me go. Calm down, Faye. Bart isn't lying. Satan is the one who helped us. Billy? Huh. If Billy says it's you, you listen. Listen very carefully. That limiter is implanted in our bodies. Right now, this research facility is the only place where we can get them removed. I thought they took care of the limiter already.
Yeah, give it a second.
Satan misled Krellian and the other guys and brought us in here to remove the limiter. What? But Doc was just... Is that true? Yeah. Doc? That is not the only reason I brought you here. Those who want to become independent from Solaris must know the actual situation in its true form. Who is doing what and why? Ostensibly, I received a covert order from the Emperor to contact the body. Wanted by the Ministry and send the data. And if possible, bring the body back. That was my duty. As a result, I had no choice but to deceive you. Please forgive me. All right, but I'm watching you.
Yeah, so Satan essentially is playing both sides a little bit. So he has reasons for doing what he's doing, but he's walking a very thin line, which is, I think, why he had so much trepidation there.
We're about to walk an even thinner line here in a minute, buddy. Point of a knife's edge. I see how it is. You're trying to trick us again. Besides, I myself had a matter that had verified in this had to be
Yeah, it
verified
should be
in this facility.
Should be had to be verified, yeah.
For sure?
For real?
For real? I'll tell you what after we escape from here. It is something you must know.
Huh?
Huh? By the way, Satan, did you remove phase limiter? You did remove phase limiter, didn't you? What? Yes, of course. That is... All right, then. Let's get out of here. See, I don't... Something still smells funny.
Indeed.
Wait, what happened to Ellie? Weren't you with her? Ellie has taken to Krellian's research lab. It could not be stopped. I'm sorry. Why only Ellie? I do not know. But one thing bothers me. When Krellian took Ellie, I had a chance to acquire Ellie's cellular information. I analyzed it and found something very interesting. Excuse me, I mean unusual. There's no limiter implanted in her. There's no limiter. Isn't that because Ellie is from Solaris? Even Solaris citizens have a limiter implanted when they are born. There are exceptions for certain people like myself and Ramses, whose limiters can be removed later on through the treatment such as the one I did for Bart. But you must have permission from the Ministry to do so. Is that why... Ellie? There must be more to it than that. I don't know the reason. But Krelian is so absorbed by her data. I don't care what the reason is. For now, let's help Ellie and get out of here fast. You're right. If we mess up here, I put those guys who went to help Ellie's parents in danger. Titan, we're going to Caroline's private research lab as planned. We'll meet up at the rendezvous point. What about Doc? There's still something left to be done. I will go destroy the last gate. Doc, a sword? Yes, you gave it to me as I was leaving. I used to use it before I met her. For a long time I vowed not to use it for killing, though. But now is not the time to contemplate morals. It is not fair for me to be the only innocent one. I see. But... Yes? You're always so mischievous, Doc. I don't know if mischievous is the word I would use. It is in my nature. I am sorry. Forgive me. Yo, Saiton, let me handle Faye and Ellie's situation. Now that the limiter is removed, Solaris doesn't stand a chance. Oh, yes. By the way, young one, about the effects of removing the limiter. The results will not show up that quickly. Already your physical limiters have been removed naturally. The part I have removed is the psychological section.
So there are two limiters. That is why.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That is, the subconscious fear and veneration for the Ministry and the Emperor that has been removed.
Yeah, so there's the physical limiter, which gave us access to hyper mode in Gears and the new death blows, and then the psychological limiter, which gives you a natural fear and veneration, like he's saying, for the bad guys.
Basically, you'll be able to battle against them without any fears or hesitations. It's not that you have suddenly become more powerful. Are you serious?
Gotta be kidding me.
Sweet baby boy.
All right, so we're back out. We have a party. We've had Bart and Billy added to our party. Let's go ahead and make sure. Okay.
200 bullets.
All right, so now we gotta roll on through here.
According to Saiton, Krelian's private laboratory should be below us.
There we go.
We still have another disc of reveals coming. Oh my word.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Ellie. You're okay? Faye? Yes. Yes, I'm fine. I was just assaulted by a madman, but I'm fine. Sorry to interrupt you two, lovebirds, but this is not the time for a heartfelt reunion. Besides, Choo-Choo'd get jealous.
That's right.
Quickly, this way. Or not. Oh, there's a
little escape hatch.
For some reason, I thought they were trying to get him back onto like the. What took you so long? I only got so many bullets. Hurry up and blow them away. I am sorry. I had other matters to attend to. What the hell are you doing? To His Majesty's. You mean the Emperor? Are you sure, Hugo? Yes, His Majesty understands the situation. He says to leave it up to them. There, it is done, sir. Yes, we're out of here. Huh?
Ramses.
Ramses, you need to take a chill pill. Where is he? Hyuga? Ka. So, you too. You are also betraying me. Ka, we are just in different situations. I did not mean to betray you. I decided to stick with Faye's group. Did you say Faye?
You said the Faye word. You shouldn't have did that.
Shouldn't have done that. You two are on his side. I'll never forgive you. Never!
Rage.
Car, you're an enemy, but why are you so attached to the one kid? You weren't like that before. Shut up. I've got to get with him. I've got to get him with my own hands. And all of you working with him are my enemies. Enemies stealing my things. Enemies. Enemies. Enemies.
Enemies.
Ka. Hey, we're going. I don't know what went on, but I don't have time to deal with him now. What? Hyuga. I see. Bye.
Bye-bye now. The gate explodes.
Not sure that'll buff out. You traitors!
Okay, so now we're down here. I believe... Ah, yes. Here we go. Hey! Oh, she's just following behind. Okay, interesting. Ah, here we go.
Oh, that's Faye. Faye's Kim is here.
Emeralda?
Why is there a blue memory cube?
Yeah, we'll cover that momentarily here.
Father, mother. Ellie. You should thank Hammer. Good job, bud.
Mm-hmm.
Hammer got your parents at the right time. Right, Hammer? Yes. Yeah, exactly, bro. You got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hammer. We'd like to thank you, too. I never thought I'd see my daughter again. Thank you, Hammer. You got it, bro.
Yeah.
Listen, everyone. We have no time to waste. So that we do not stand out, we should split up into two groups. Faye, you have done a lot, but I would like to have you move on ahead and take 2 more members with you. Move along the southwest of here and cross 2 mobile contact bridges. There you will find a hangar that will lead to the outside. You will meet at the footbridge near there. If you talk to the blue memory cubes, you'll be able to make contact with the other party members.
There are party switch memory cubes.
Oh. You can thus change which members you wish to have in your current party. I shut down alarms here and there when I was breaking gates. For fun.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still dangerous, so be careful. I'll go to the hangar beforehand and arrange a ride for us. Solaris is in confusion now, so if I go alone, I can pull some strings. Okay, please do not overdo it. Right, I know. Ellie, Medina, see you again. That's what everybody says before they die. Dear, please be careful. Excuse me, Father.
All right. Of course, we gotta talk to the most important.
I'm not in giant form, so it leaves something to be desired.
Please, Kim, let's go together. Let's go. I have to get my mother and father to a safe place quickly. Faye, now we're in the same boat as you.
Let's see.
Third-class lowly citizens. Those morons in Solaris. Hope they've learned their lesson. Hurry, run away. Yeah, run away, bro. Yeah, that's right. Better make proper preparations before you flee, so consider this Hammer's last closing down sale.
Oh, yeah, we got access to see what he has.
I have this distinct feeling that us ending right now, for people who've played this game before, is such a tease, but I am sorry.
Yeah, it's...
We gotta stop at some point.
Yeah, we're in the middle of some pretty intense stuff, but yeah, this is a good spot.
Faye, let us hurry. They'll find us here easily.
And Jesse, what you got?
This country wasn't like this long ago, I think. Well, maybe I was just too young.
All right, so before we end here, let's go ahead and take a look so we can just swap party members in. I am going to go ahead and bring in Seitan at least. We'll probably go with just the party we've been using here. We could bring in Emeralda as well, or whoever really, but we have the option. I brought Seitan in, though, because I want to show you guys. Seitan is now different, I believe. Oh, no. Okay. It's when he first goes into a battle. So you want to bring him with because he will... Let me see if things have changed. Yeah. So note, all of his death blows have changed.
Oh.
Yeah. So Seitan has upgraded to Sword Seitan now. He will now use his sword in combat, which is really, really, really cool.
The fact that, I'm assuming it has different animations too. So the fact that they took the time to create a whole separate set of animations for a main party member this late in the game is really interesting.
Yep. It's really cool. And yeah, he will end up with a sword actually equipped. I don't know why they do it this way, but it will appear on his character after the first fight. Faye and several other party members are still unarmed. They have no choice. They have no weapon. But yeah, Seitan will brandish his sword first fight we get into as we're headed out here. And yeah, we'll be going through some new death blows as we leave. We can also talk to Billy here.
Don't let your guard down. Not until it's over. We must get back.
Bart, what you gotta say?
Let's bail while we can.
Agreed, Bart. But we'll be doing that next time. I'm going to go ahead and we will save here. I may do a little bit of inventory management, but largely next time we'll be picking this up. And we're making our way out of Solaris after bombshell was dropped on us.
Yeah, and if I'm reading the upcoming stuff correctly, it's only going to get more complex.
Oh yes. So we are at the cusp of entering Disc 2 at this point. The Escape from Solaris is the final event on Disc 1. So those of you that know about Disc 2, you know what's coming, and it will be a very interesting time. So definitely stick with us. We will probably be entering Disc 2 in the next episode. And yeah, we will be going from there. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us as we've made our way through, I guess, the first half to maybe a little over half, sort of depends on how you define it, of Xenogears. Very excited as we're about to see the story and the lore of this universe expand as we move through the remainder of the game.
Man, it's such a very exciting time.
Very exciting time indeed.
Wow, there's so much to process. I was taking notes. Okay, and then we got into the crux, the meat of all the narrative that was happening.
Yep.
And notes went out the window. So I'll probably have more to divest into our listeners' ears at a later time.
Indeed.
So that being said, thank you so much for being here. We love having you here, and if you've been enjoying the series, let us know in the comments. Let us know your thoughts, how you felt when you
first saw it, and if this is your first time seeing it, how do you feel now? I know I am a mixed bag of emotions right now.
Head is spinning.
Yeah, a little bit. But if you do like what you're seeing, please obviously hit all the buttons, like, subscribe, all that. Tell your friends. Check out other series. We have a bunch of other stuff that's not quite as intense as this that is now available for your perusal. A couple of complete series. We've got ongoing series all the time, so feel free to check all of that out. And yeah, just again, let us know in the comments. And if you're having a good day and you got nothing else to say, carrots. I don't know. Carrots in the comments.
Yeah, for real. We love reading your comments, and yeah, thanks for going through it with us. We will see you next time on Xenogears.
Yep. Hope you have a wonderful day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye now.
Diddly diddly do 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 do. Thanks for watching.